Presidential petition against the election of Uhuru Kenyatta has now been gazetted. The petition was published in the Kenya Gazette as parties in the petition prepare for the precedent-setting legal battle. The petition will put into sharp focus the 6 judges of the Supreme Court, more so its president, Dr. Willy Mutunga. But who is this man, Mutunga? Rita Tidina takes a closer look at the man who was imprisoned for 3 years and who now faces the Supreme tests.
With the clock ticking on the 14-day constitutional deadline for the Supreme Court to hear and determine the presidential election petition, the spotlight is firmly on the 6 Supreme Court judges. 5 men and 1 woman who will make a ruling on the precedent-setting case challenging the declaration of Uhuru Kenyatta as the winner of the March 4th polls. As president of the highest court in the land, 65-year-old Dr. Willy Mutunga is a man under sharp focus. Described by some as a reform activist, Mutunga began his activism while serving as a law lecturer at the University of Nairobi in the 1970s. He and other academics formed the university staff union in 1972. In 1979, just months after Daniel Moi took over power, Mutunga became the union's Secretary General. His campaign to have controversial author Ngugi wa Thiong'o given his university teaching job back landed him in trouble with the KANU regime. Mutunga was arrested in June 1980 and was accused of being a member of the December 12 movement. 2 years later, in June 1982, he was charged in court for being in possession of seditious material and was detained just days before the abortive August 1, 1982 coup. After 3 years and 4 months in prison, Mutunga was released in October of 1983 and went into exile in Canada. Willy Mutunga, who had before his incarceration obtained a law degree from the University of Nairobi and a master's degree from the University of Dar es Salaam, used his time in exile to pursue his doctorate of law from York University in Toronto. Even as he studied, he continued pushing for reforms back home. Together with other exiles at the time, such as Kiraitu Murungi, they launched the Kenya Human Rights Commission. In 1992, Mutunga, who was then among a group of pro-democracy activists such as Paul Mwite, James Orengo, Kiraitu Murungi, Raila Odinga and Gitobu Imanyara, became the chairman of the Kenya Human Rights Commission as his fellow reform activists joined politics. He was later to serve as chairman of the Law Society of Kenya from 1993 to 1995. During his tenure, the LSK was seen as a formidable voice compared to the then divided opposition. Mutunga spearheaded an initiative of the LSK, the Kenya Human Rights Commission and the International Commission of Jurists to draft a new constitution despite resistance from the then government. The 4Cs, Citizens Coalition for Constitutional Change, was born in January of 1995 but did not realize its goals after the then President Daniel Moi declined to negotiate constitutional reform with the civil society. In 1997, the constitution reform agenda was taken over by the Inter-Parties Parliamentary Group. Behind the scenes, Mutunga worked on opposition unity. In 2002, he convened a breakfast meeting of Mwai Kibaki, Kijana Wamalwa and Charity Ngilu, the then leading opposition figures. The talks led to the formation of the National Alliance for Change, which later merged with KANU rebels under LDP to form the National Alliance for Rainbow Coalition, NAC. Mutunga declined an offer to serve as the chairperson of NAC, saying he was not interested in joining politics and only wanted to unite the opposition. In April 2003, after NAC won the 2002 election, Mutunga declined an appointment to the University Council of the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, saying he did not have the right qualifications for the job. A year later, he joined the Ford Foundation as a Human Rights Program Officer. In 2009, he became the Executive Director, a position he held until May 2011 when he was shortlisted and later vetted for the position of Chief Justice. He was appointed Chief Justice in June 2011. Dr. Willy Mutunga has spearheaded reforms in the judiciary which has been working hard to rebuild its image. But the historic presidential petition will provide the supreme test for the highest court in the land. Rita Tinina, KTN.